I want to thank you all for joining today. Today's session is a really deep dive to learn more about the MSx program and our career services and what we call career management office. And we have our dearest liaison to career services for MSXers. We have Virginia Mack, who has been working with MSXers for over 18 years. I think she's probably on everybody's speed dial as soon as they become admitted into the program. She gets to know everyone's story. And more importantly, she is a great connector of people. She knows so many of our students so well and our alums. So she's a wonderful resource and somebody you'll get to know well once you're in the MSx program. So we've asked her to talk about some of the services and programming that happens when you're a student, and it's very comprehensive. And so Virginia's here just to discuss a little bit more about the programming that is provided, as well as a little bit more about outcomes and what happens to students after their MSx journey. So if you have questions, you are more than welcome to ask them. You can enter them in the chat. Bonnie and I will manage as many as we can. And then, of course, there'll be time at the end of the presentation, and Virginia will go through and try to tackle additional questions. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Virginia.
Okay, let me put this in slideshow and get ready. Well, good day to all of you wherever you are in the world, and welcome. Thanks for making time in your busy day to learn more about Stanford MSx and the career experience. And thank you, Kathy and Bonnie, for always being so gracious, always giving great intros. I always feel boosted up. So today I'll share an overview of the MSx career experience as you consider, is MSx right for me now? So you'll see these faces, and they represent unique mid-career transitions and mid-career journeys. For me and my teammates, we love working with mid-career students because, one, they're experienced and accomplished leaders. They represent all points of the globe, including Japan, Brazil, China, India, Canada, Mexico, Argentina, and of course the US. They bring diverse experiences, including industry and functional expertise, unique talents, geographic and cultural perspectives, and personal human stories. So in an MSx class, you may find an engineer, a rocket scientist, a product manager, a winemaker, a dancer, an educator, a physician, a government official, or diplomat. You find everything virtually in the world in the MSx program. So with all this diversity, what do they all have in common? They are all at an inflection point. They made a stop and think decision to leverage their experience for greater impact, to become a better version of themselves by leveraging their strengths and experience. And they are all works in progress. So no two people are alike. This is not a cookie cutter program. It is our privilege to work with you to amplify your experience, talents, motivations, and work with you for greater impact through greater self-awareness. So there are 4 key ways that Stanford GSB helps you build your career post GSB. So here's the 10,000-foot view. As an MSx student, we help you strengthen your leadership skills. And what we mean by that is there are world-renowned GSB faculty and courses, resources in leadership and executive communications, many opportunities for you to take on leadership roles as students. These are fundamental to your career development. Next, we help you broaden your network. This includes professors, classmates, alumni, members of my team, the Career Management Center, as well as student career clubs, networking events, and a myriad of other opportunities. GSB, as you will discover, is about people. So the word network conjures up business transactions, but it's really about connecting to build human relationships. The third is deepen your skill set. You can do this through courses, experiential learning, independent research, and lots of practice while you're a student. It will help you deepen your functional knowledge and competence. And fourth is expose you to new perspectives. There are incredibly diverse, talented community on campus and in Silicon Valley. And there's so many opportunities to learn from all these different points of view. So the summer is the time where the MSx class starts, and you begin building strong relationships with your cohort. Then you mix with the MBAs when they arrive in autumn for the rest of the year. So next, when I meet all of you, my hope for you, our hope for you is for you to gain clarity, confidence, and connections. And by clarity, I mean strengthening, knowing what you're great at. So that means what are your talents, gifts, competencies, expertise, and skills? Clarity on what energizes you, what gives you a sense of meaning, fulfillment, as well as fun and joy. Oops, my little thing. Oh, there we go. And we want you to get clarity on what you need. We're talking personally, financially, professionally, your family, clarity on what you really need. And then clarity on what the market wants, what the market will pay for. And so when you get at the intersection of what you're great at, what energizes you, what you need, and what the market supports, you have your sweet spot. And so with your sweet spot, you get clarity, confidence, and connections because you can position who you are. You can position your value and impact. You can network with intentionality to explore. And you can refine your interviewing skills to showcase what you really have to offer. So when we work with students, it is a partnership. So how we work with you, you own and drive your self-directed job search. You want to leverage your unique mid-career experience from your past and determine what you want to carry forward and build for the next phase. We want you to amplify your reputation. And in turn, what we do is we support you in your career journey through high-touch experience, through specific MSX-only career sessions and individualized one-on-one support. But I'll fill you in more next. So, how we support experienced leaders. We have individualized coaching. It's high-touch, personalized support for mid-career professionals. What does that look like? One, we have one-on-one coaching tailored to your goals. There's no cookie-cutter approach. Two, we're driven by your needs and priorities. So when you're clear about who you are and what you need, that is gold. The third is we give you lifetime career support, literally to your last day, through coaching and resources. The next, we offer MSX-only career education. So this means practical frameworks and peer learning with a mid-career lens, an experience lens. So what does that look like? We've got workshops designed for a mid-career focus. Our career frameworks have very much a real-world application. We also want to build community, so peer interaction and support is very important. You get work done together as a cohort to support each other. The program is small enough so that you know everyone in the class. And then finally, there's 24/7 career education access through learning modules on our Canvas learning platform. And then finally, networking and CMC resources. It's all about the people, as I said earlier. We help you expand your network and access broader CMC expertise. We have MSX only events with alumni. We have panels and talks from those who've been in your shoes. And we have access to CMC-wide workshops for international students on LinkedIn profiles, and you'll be joining these sessions with MBA students. And then finally, you have access to a lifelong community of support. So mid-career support is self-directed, it's guided, personalized, and practical. Now, let me just highlight 2 frequently asked questions. So I get asked from time to time, do you have on-campus recruiting and job placement? And the answer is really no, because the mid-career job search is network-based. The higher you go up in an organization, there are just fewer jobs. And so it requires a more tailored, personalized approach to get the best fit opportunity. The other frequently asked question is, what if I'm willing to pivot to an entry-level position? It doesn't matter. I'll do anything. If you've ever hired before, you know you want to hire people who are the best fit for the job. So we really want you to kind of leverage that experience so that you can find the best opportunity to be your best self at this time. So it's important when you come to the MSx program, it's 1 year, but you want to take the long view. So the MSx program is 1 year, and in this 1 year, we offer you tools to build a personalized career strategy to help you with the short-term job search, as well as your long-term career aspirations. So take the long view. The mid-career executive job search can take anywhere from 6 to 12 months of focused effort. It doesn't mean like you're thinking about it and worrying about it. It means you're actually focused and doing stuff. So for many of you, but not all, you'll conduct a job search during the GSB year. It's your choice based on personal circumstances, when you start and how much effort you put into it. What's your level of risk tolerance? What are your goals and timelines? We will partner with you based on the approach that best fits you. So the next is, it's important to note that strategic career change takes 3 to 5 years. It doesn't happen right, when you graduate, you land in that aspirational job. So for entrepreneurs, some of you may be serial entrepreneurs, some of you will be exploring. If you're sponsored and your company is expecting you to return back, you're in a position to accelerate your career at the company, but you can also look down the line, 5 years, 10 years down the line. Where do you want to be? What kind of impact do you want to have? And remember, it's important that the short-term moves have long-term impact. Your first job post-GSB is only the first step in your life. So we are helping you build career resilience for a lifetime. There are some questions about the job market. It's kind of a little bit ambiguous at this time. And so the guidance that we give is that we don't have a crystal ball knowing what the geopolitical situation is going to be or what the market exactly, what's going up and what's going on. We help you focus on what you can control, which is self-awareness on who are you, what value you offer, what problems you can fix, and how you can leverage your passion and your experience. So I bet you want to know, like, give me some stories, give me some proof points. So here are mid-career journeys. There are many paths and one purpose. Each story of our alums represents a unique mid-career transformation. And so we help you acknowledge your past, envision the future, and become the best version of you. So there are 3 common mid-career patterns or personas, and I will flesh them out here. We've got accelerators, career accelerators, and your focus is to deepen your leadership impact. We also have career pivoters who are exploring new geographies, industries, or roles, as well as maybe moving from big corporate to startup or growth company size. We're also looking at entrepreneurs who want to build and create what's next. And so each journey is unique, but each journey starts with a decision, I want to grow. And so what I'm going to do is I'll give you a flavor with a few stories for each of the personas. So I'll start with career accelerators. So with career accelerators, they want to deepen their leadership and impact in their industry, their functional knowledge, and their leadership competence. You could be sponsored by your company, or you may independently decide you're ready to kind of leave your company and see where else you could offer your talents. So an example, I have an accelerator who was sponsored by their company. He was a banker of VP transformation in East Africa, and he was being groomed to become a country CEO. So he came to the program, and it just opened up his eyes to all the possibilities. He returned to his company, fulfilled his commitment for the sponsorship, and became director of North America in fintech in San Francisco. Then he met all his MBA and MSx friends, tried a startup and failed, and then joined a Series E startup where it is doing fabulously well. And he is now really opening up businesses in Southeast Asia. So his journey has been quite astounding, more than he imagined. Then we have an accelerator who's on a leave of absence from their company. So this person is an HR function head of learning and development, and eventually wound up returning to their pre-GSB employer as a senior leader, but then made several moves since then to become director of talent as well as chief of talent for another company. And then we have an accelerator who is a PhD in technology and wound up discovering that she developed a portfolio career of being an advisor and an investor and has great freedom and impact to drive innovation through technology. So that gives you a flavor for career accelerators. I probably have 20 more examples, but we'll move on to pivoters. So for career pivoters, we're looking at new industries, geographies, or roles. And I'll give you one example. Well, we'll start with the military. We have several military, career military people who decide, I'm ready to end my service to our country and pursue what's next in corporate America. And so this particular student was passionate about data. He is such a data geek. Long story short, he wound up connecting and going really deep through a lot of the coursework and building networks with thought leaders in the data space. And he wound up landing several opportunities as a consultant and finally landed at a top AI think tank. Another pivoter is a consulting tech director in Europe, and he really wanted to be a part of Silicon Valley tech. Not as a consultant, he wanted to be a strategist and operator. Oops, I need to get my light on here. And so what he did very shrewdly was he built networks that showcased his depth of knowledge in the tech arena. And he also realized that he would probably need to step down 1 or 2 steps from his current level in order to make the shift to being in big tech in the US. He did that. He wound up being in a role where he was the right hand to the CEO of a well-known tech company. And he wound up showing what he could do in within a year. And then he accelerated once he had the trust and the proof points of delivering impact in his role. And then I will move to entrepreneurs. So for entrepreneurs, we have serial entrepreneurs, we have first-time entrepreneurs. So I'll give you a flavor, three examples of entrepreneurs. First, we have a serial entrepreneur who is an international student, started 3 companies and expected to start the 4th one through MSx. But the market didn't exactly time things correctly for this next opportunity. He had networked throughout the entire year, and as serendipity would offer, he networked into a VC role, did that for 7 years, and now has returned to his first love, which is to build companies. And so he has definitely become a much better version of himself. We also have a first-time entrepreneur, a PhD engineer who had worked in Silicon Valley in big tech for many, many years and came here with the hopes like, oh, could I start a company? Well, through the process at Stanford of Startup Garage and a whole bunch of other opportunities and networks, he actually had 4 viable startup ideas related to sustainability. He picked one. He's wildly successful, still to be proven how successful he can be, but he has been very warmly received for the technological innovations he wants to put out in the marketplace. And then finally, we have a first-time entrepreneur who was a product manager in tech, but just had a love for fashion and textiles. So submitted and pitched an idea for a business around building out fashion through these sustainable textiles. Did it for 2 years, loved it, and decided, you know what? That was a great experience, and I'm going to make a move, and wound up returning back to product management in high tech. So these are the ways the MSx experience allows you to explore and see how you can become the best version of yourself. Let's see, how are we doing on time? Good. So, a frequently asked question is, what is the return on investment for the MSx program? What's the employment data for MSx? And so I will be very candid with you. It is very challenging to generalize and publish numbers on return on investment or to provide an average salary. People go, what's the number? People want to know the number. And the reason why for this is our sample size is really small. It's very small. Our class is really diverse, and we honor students' requests to keep their salary information anonymous and confidential. So specifically, for example, we had one grad report a total compensation of $8 million. And then another one reported compensation of 0 because they were doing a startup. So what is the average? What's the mean? What if you knocked off outliers? How do you take into account someone who's driven to start a company or someone who has really found their passion and it's not validated by necessarily a salary? We understand that one of the factors of making an investment to spend your year with us is, what's the outcome? And I would say there are extrinsic measures which are important, and you need to know what you need to make this work for you. But it's also an intrinsic measure of how you want to grow, how you want to transform. And so with that, what I will ask you is what might be possible during your MSx journey. I ask you to reflect on your own strengths, your aspirations, what's holding you back. And I'll ask you, do you want to gain clarity, confidence, and connections at this juncture in your life? I'm going to share with you some quotes from when they were students and exiting and starting their new life. The program changes your life. It changes the way you think, the way you approach the opportunity, the way you relate to people. The CMC slogan, "Leave no MSx behind," lived up to the expectations. Your team's dedication in offering guidance and coaching made all the difference. The GSB offers the opportunity for transformation. My MSx year was transformational. And I see their faces when I put up these quotes, and it just makes me so happy. And this could be you. So with this, I will thank you for joining us, and I will defer to my wonderful colleagues if there are any questions.